This is Carl Munson of Expats Portugal, and this is number 6 of 1,000 things to enjoy in Portugal. Lisbon is home to what has been described as the most important tech event in the world, the annual technology conference Web Summit. Not just for techies, however, speakers have included Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, Al Gore, and Portugal's Prime Minister and President. Originally held in Dublin, Web Summit moved permanently to Lisbon in 2016 and now attracts over 100,000 visitors to the capital from over 160 countries to see more than 1,000 speakers, generating millions of euros in visitor and tourism revenue, as well as global attention for capital and country alike. Web Summit has attracted a stellar lineup of celebs, including Serena Williams, Jose Mourinho and Wyclef Jean, but probably only for one time. Hey, see what I did there? One time. Good morning to you, everybody, one and all. Welcome to the Good Morning Portugal show with me, Carl Munson. How are you? How was your weekend? And what do we make of this week to come? And that's, of course, what we do on a Monday. Let's have a look at the week ahead, the weather for the week ahead, and, of course, extraordinary times, unprecedented times, the return of the lockdown restrictions in Portugal. So let's make our way through those as well, thanks to the Portugal Resident online newspaper. And we will be looking at, news and weather. And I would like to know what sort of weekend you've had. I know it's probably been strange, and I know you probably had to be indoors by 1 on both Saturday and Sunday, but still very important, I think, to keep the Portuguese pilot light lit, keep enjoying the life in Portugal we dreamed of now that we're living it, and obviously important to send out a positive message to the rest of the world from Portugal about this still being a great country in which to live and have a great life. So a few good mornings coming in. That's really important as well. Probably the most important thing on this show is the comments that come in and us connecting up. The virtual hug in the morning. Part of our feel-good formula that we talked about on Friday, of course. So do please say hi in the comments. Tell me where you are and how you're doing and what sort of weekend you've had. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my weekend. Because after 3 years of being in Portugal, I still get surprised and shocked and then reassured. And I'll tell you about that, what was quite a thwarting, good word, isn't it? Quite a thwarting Saturday morning. Turned into one of those aha moments. Ah, yes, of course. That's why I moved here. That's what's so cool about Portuguese life. So let's say good morning to those who've said good morning to me so far. We have Sharon and Mayon. I think that's a new name on the screen there. In Cascais, it's a beautiful morning. Sharon goes on to say, may have seen you once or twice before, but I'm not sure. Tell us more about yourself, if you will. Sharon. Catherine Nichols is here. Catherine, is it... Oh, that Catherine, sorry. I'm trying to find the economist who said they would come and talk to me about the Portuguese economy, which I think is especially important at the moment. But different Catherine there. But good morning to you, Catherine. I know exactly who you are. How was your weekend, Catherine? A bon viveur for sure. I imagine you've had a fantastic weekend, Catherine Nichols. Tell us about it, if you will. Good morning, Carl, from Cheryl Meaning. Good morning to you, Cheryl. How are you doing? Hola, bon dia. After dancing in the man cave. I'll tell you about that, actually. We might do that again this coming Friday night. The man cave turned into a party. Well, kind of. A virtual party last Friday night. It was great fun. And Owen was giving it his all. I mean, he looked like he was giving it his all. He might have more to give. We might see that in weeks to come. But it was great, Owen. And yes, that offer of teaching us... other cavemen, how to dance. A weekend workshop at your place might be gratefully received. Turn us dad dancers into proper dirty dancers. Or maybe that's not what you do. I don't know. I'll move on. Neil Perkins. Anyway, it was great to have a party. We had a proper radio show with disco music, and we had people dancing on the screen. Anyway, just to elaborate on that mystery. Neil Perkins. Bon dia. Have to love you and leave you. Busy day today. Hope everyone has a fab week as the Mercury is rising. Now, that's not an astrological reference, I don't think. I think that's more of a temperature reference, isn't it? It could be both, though. I'll have to ask Mrs. M, the astrologer in the house here, if Mercury is rising, as well as the Mercury rising. And we'll have a look at that weather in just a moment. Thank you, Neil. Have a great day. Lots of love to you and Rita. I feel good, says Owen. Brilliant. Good. Well, actually, we'll have to play some James Brown this coming Friday, right? We didn't go to Joe. We went to Earth, Wind and Fire. We had Michael Jackson. the obviously brilliant production talents of Quincy Jones, Brothers Johnson, a few disco classics, but we didn't go into the funk, which we might do this coming Friday. Got to play some James Brown if we're going to have a dance. Good morning, because I imagine there are a few sex machines in this community. Good morning from Chicago. Hello to you, Cindy Green. How are you doing? Bon dia from Pavor de Vagim, from Mark Rigby. We found out on Friday night, Mark, that's a favourite of Porto people. Are they called Portoans? The Porto people, the Porto peeps. A favoured holiday destination of Porto people. So I think you've chosen well up there. How's it going for you? Nick Steinman is here. Bon dia. Good morning to you, Nick. An inquiry coming in. Look, hi, Mr. Carl. Good morning. Where's your office? WhatsApp number? How can I start procedures for the D7 visa? Become a premium member. This is basically what you need to do. We've made it as easy as possible for you. Ramadan. Let me just put your link in the comments here. Become a premium. Well, just join expatsportugal.com anyway. Get in on the community, and in the business directory, you'll find exactly the professionals you need to work with to start your D7 procedure. That will be with EI Migration Services. Hi, Migrant, with Gilda Pereira and her team. That's where you'll find out what to do. Okay, so if you ring me on my WhatsApp number, which incidentally is changing to Signal now after Facebook wanting to stick their beaks more and more into our business. Looks like us wine ninjas are from Good Morning Portugal, are going to Signal now. Shouldn't have told you that, though, should I? Isn't Signal all about secret messaging? Anyway, it's a secret that I'm sure is safe in this community. But Ramadan, please sign up, expatsportugal.com. If you upgrade, you will get discounts on the services on offer in the business directory. So I hope that helps. Claire, hope you're doing okay. Bon dia, Carl Munson. Good morning to you, Claire. Looking forward to you stretching the lycra with us. I mean, all of us stretching the lycra one morning when it feels right for you, and doing a workout with you. Good morning from one Jacqueline to another. Jacqueline Mary Brown is here, everybody, the grandmother of our community, who I'll be doing a brilliant new live stream with on Fridays. It's a spin-off. Expats Portugal and the Good Morning Portugal and Good Morning Portugal shows are old enough and long enough in the tooth now to have spin-off projects. And one such spin-off is me and Jacqueline talking to each other independently of Expats Portugal on a new show called Life, Death and Everything in Between. A lot of people were very calmed by the presence of Jacqueline Mary Brown and her insights and wisdom. So you will see and me chipping in, by the way, alongside her. And you'll see the continuation of that on a Friday night, sometime soon, 8 o'clock on Fridays when we're ready, which will be, I think, will be in the next couple of weeks. So good morning to you, Jacqueline. Really looking forward to doing that show with you. Hannah Downing. Hey, Hannah, how are you? Morning. Every day is Groundhog Day in the UK. Weekend, who knew? Yeah, I know. Whenever I say weekend, for expats, it's the same, isn't it? A lot of people who've retired, I mean, just, one day is much like another until they go out and find that the shops are shut and that sort of thing. And harumph home again, which is pretty much what I did on Saturday, but I'll tell you more about that in a while. Yeah, I'm afraid so, but I still think the weekend is hardwired and it's quite useful. Vision is so important at the moment. And even if the vision is like something to look forward to at the so-called weekend, which is just like any other day of the week, I think that's still important until weekends are banned, maybe. Wayne Barker, bon dia. Hello, Wayne. How are you? Bon dia from a sunny Porto de Mos. All those moshers over there in Porto de Mos. I hope you're doing well. Great to hear from you. Moved to Cascais 4 years ago. I'm from Texas and Louisiana. Love Portugal. Why wouldn't you? Thank you, Sharon. So yeah, a new face in the community here. You're very welcome, Sharon. Lovely to have your company this morning. Dr. Thompson's here, everybody. Accessible. Bon dia from Leiria. New COVID case in our household. Oh dear. So isolating, anticipating national lockdown by 4 days. Ahead of that curve, which we're trying to flatten again, Dr. Thompson. Oh, wow. Catherine Nichols. Well, lots of love and best wishes to your household there, Dr. Thompson, for a speedy recovery. Great weekend. Mucho wine and good food. Love to cook and dancing at home. Catherine sounds like a hell of a lot of fun, doesn't she? Can't wait till she gets here in Portugal and hosts a few parties at her house. Bon dia, back in Nottingham after a couple of weeks in Portugal and walking on the treadmill as not allowed out for 10 days. Wow, yeah, of course, trying to get rid of the Bolloré. Metaphorically and actually, I suspect. The Bolloré is probably the little paunch you get as well, isn't it, after Christmas? Not you, Michelle, but other people. Michelle Castro Vieira there. Coming back to your comments in just a moment. Let's have a quick look at that weather, shall we? And I know there's a weather warning in place until Wednesday now. It's been extended because we saw snow, didn't we? Lovely pictures of snow from the unofficial ambassador of Castanheira de Pera over the weekend in our Happy Householders and Portuguese Positive News group. Great film, Pete. I love that. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at the weather now. So, yes, some people have had snow, of course. No, that's the wrong one, Carl. We are looking at, hold on a minute, bear with me. And also bear with, if you will, the crosswind of the fan heater that's right. If it's too much, if you're thinking, what is that noise in Munson's environment there, it is, of course, my fan heater keeping me warm this morning. Because as you'll see, temperatures in Coimbra down to 0 to start the day. Let's see where that goes, shall we? Lisbon, let's have a look at the week's weather. So as I say, I think the yellow weather warning has been extended. Go to the IPMA pages for the most reliable weather forecasting on. This is the most visual and at a glance that I use here, but IPMA is the real go-to place, the kind of Met Office that I would be used to in the UK. The Met Office equivalent in Portugal is IPMA, IPMA. But anyway, Lisbon, 5 degrees, clear sky currently, low of 4, high of 10. And looking at the week ahead, temperatures are going to go up to 16 by the weekend. So the mercury is rising, as Neil was saying earlier on. Cloudy day on Friday. But apart from that, temperatures rising and a lovely sunny week to look forward to. Those beautiful Lisbon blue skies. How wonderful. And there it is in Fahrenheit for you Americans, very briefly there, that you can look at while I'm telling you about Porto. 2 degrees and a few clouds in Porto this morning. Low of 2, high of 9. And a cloudy rest of the week and some rain coming in at the weekend, although the temperature is rising again. Often that happens with rain, doesn't it? It gets a bit milder temperature-wise, even though it's a bit wetter. Yeah, a wet weekend in Porto, I'm afraid to say. But as they always say with rain, well, we do need it. I think they need it more in the south, though, to be fair. Coimbra, 3 degrees, clear sky, starting at 0 today. And tomorrow, and rising to 11 or 12. Nice big differential, that, isn't it? Had a lovely weekend in the garden, or a few hours in the garden, both Saturday and Sunday for me this last weekend. It was great. It felt noticeably milder, but still very chilly at night. Cloudy on Wednesday, sunny on Thursday, and a slightly cloudy weekend. But look at that, 14 degrees and 15 on Sunday. So things are warming up, folks. Glad to see that, or at least the prediction says they might. Faro. Not 4 degrees, clear sky, 4 degrees the low in Faro, and it's a lovely sunny week forecast. Look at that, heading towards 16 degrees by the weekend, and 14s and 15s throughout the week. So lovely, beautiful week there. Currently at 4, but rising to 11 today, and a lovely week of sunshine down there in the south in the Algarve. We did have a lovely message in from some visitors to Madeira who said they will be very happy to answer any questions about Madeira. And I will do a short about Madeira. I hope you enjoyed the Web Summit one this morning. Slightly odd, but Web Summit is important. I mean, in normal times, it's very important, bring over 100,000 people to Portugal. So I did a short about Web Summit and featured some of my own pictures of Web Summit and a picture of myself at Web Summit. But Madeira, look at that, -1 at the moment. I was going to go there to see if it was nice, mild weather. Much more in the Azores, 17 degrees currently. 13 currently, rising to 17. It's wet out on the islands, on the autonomous regions, and Madeira is cold but sunny. -1 registering over there, and temperatures staying around that, just 1s and 2s, and -1s up to 2 degrees in Madeira for the week ahead. So I hope that improves for you. I forget your name. Do forgive me. But we will be coming back to you, and we will come to you to answer questions about Madeira based on your stay there. So thank you for that offer. Very kind indeed. So there you go. There's the weather. Do bear in mind that the weather warning is in place until Wednesday of this week, I believe. And worth checking, Worth checking, of course, from time to time, because these things, just like the lockdown restrictions, seem to be constantly in flux and changing. Safe Communities Portugal is a good bet, or just go direct to IPMA. Yeah, Dr. A. Thompson's emoticon says it all on the screen there. Yes, Not grumpy exactly, but not happy either. Doreen Reyes, bon dia. Friday dance party was fabulous. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Doreen. Looking forward to more. Well, okay, that's the only encouragement we need. We will do some more of those. We will have our man cave chat, and then we'll roll back the virtual carpet again, push the furniture out of the way, and crank up the tunes. And what I thought we could do is actually people can be on screen and dancing. So those exhibitionists and people who love to get down on the dance floor and dance like nobody's watching or dancing like everybody's watching, we can have 10 of you on the screen doing that. Others can watch and dance in privacy, but I'll just crank up the party tunes and we'll do that again on a Friday. That sounds like a good plan. Can we have today's date on the screen? No, I don't know if that's a joke, because Owen's lost track of all time. But just so you know, yes, just to date stamp things. Is this maybe it's like Owen's? You know how people used to hold up a copy of the New York Times or the Times in London to verify the date. I can't do that. I just thought you were joking because we don't really know what day it is. So we are talking about segunda-feira. That's hyphenated, isn't it? Oh my goodness, still putting off, and I've forgotten how to spell it as well. Segunda-feira, dia 11 de janeiro. You've really put me on the spot there, Owen. Can a Portuguese person please respond to that and put in the comments what the day of the week is in Portuguese and the date, and I will cut and paste it across because I'm just embarrassing myself now. Thank you, Owen. And yes, says Claire, Jacqueline Claire, we'll be stretching on screen. Lycra clads, actually come as you are, but actually don't wear anything too tight because that could be very restrictive and you could have an on-screen rip. And nobody got time for that. Grove in Garvo reporting for duty. It was good, wasn't it? Gary was grieving away in his man cave as well, the actual Al Viagra man cave, the spiritual home of the man cave, of course, on our expat man cave evening. Yes, I think it was good. Solo 50 plus, expat Portugal. Louise is here. Bon dia to you, Louise. Hope you're still enjoying those shorts. Thank you for that suggestion. Bon dia. Interested in hearing your epiphany of a Saturday morning, Carl. Yes, Pete, stand by. I'll come back to that. We need to work through the lockdown thing, I think, or shall I do the my epiphany first? Might be more uplifting to do the epiphany. I'll do the epiphany first. Let's just complete the comments, and I'll tell you what happened to me on Saturday. Swimming. Oh no, Carrie in Alvazara. Sorry, forgive me for calling it Al Viagra. It's this joke that never wears thin for me. The swimming pool froze over the weekend. That's not right, is it? That wasn't in the small print. It's true, Gary. We're learning a lot about Portugal that we didn't sign up for at the moment, that you could go skating. I mean, that's a way of reframing it. If it gets any colder, you can actually go skating on your swimming pool. Although, exercise the appropriate health and safety measures. Let someone else try first. No, only joking. But yeah, the swimming pool freezing over, that is ridiculous. Come on. Jennifer's here, everybody. Yeah, and in terms of what's on for the week ahead, I don't know whether to call her Jennifer or Jenny. You know how some people put on their posh name or the name their parents call them on their Facebook profile? Jennifer is reminding us summer is about to come. She'll be with us on Friday for our Feel Good Friday slot. Thank you, Jenny, for that, Jen. And you were telling me International Day of Gratitude is either today or next Monday, and we will be talking about the power of gratitude on Friday. It's a very worthwhile reminder, so thank you for doing that, Jen. And I'll tell you what else is coming up during the week a little bit later on too. Please remind me, don't let me forget that. So comments until I share my epiphany with you. Share your epiphanies as well in the comments, or even join me on screen. You're always welcome to join me on screen. Hello from Poland, from an expat Australian. Wow, hello, Ron. Ron T.I. From Peter, the aforementioned. A very good morning to you all from a sunny and slowly warming Castanheira de Pera. Had lots of fun in the snow this weekend. So there's Pete's weekend report, fun in the snow. And he built a snowman. I saw it. I saw the pictures with my own eyes. But didn't show it to the kids because they would have been saying, oh, why can't we have snow? Why can't we go to Castanheira de Pera? Good morning, Portuguese friends from Hank. Hey, Hank, how are you doing? You're on the treadmill this morning. Ron, T.I., you folk are onto something living in Portugal. That is for sure. Once all this COVID stuff starts getting loosened up, we're planning a trip down south. Great spot. Yes, indeed, Ron. Come and have a beer with us, won't you? Exhibitionist, just getting down. Did I say? I don't think I said exhibitionist. I wasn't referring specifically to you, but I'm just jealous, Owen. I'm jealous of a man who can get down. I like to think I can move a little bit, and I love supplying the tunes, but I do need a bit of tuition. Hank Stelica missed my GMP fix over the weekend. Very kind of you to say, Hank, we're right back with you now. Doing it to you in both your ears on the treadmill. He is right, because sometimes I click watch today and end up in August. That just happened. I wonder how long you're there watching a show from August, Jacqueline. It's not funny. It is a bit funny, let's face it. Okay. But no Portuguese person. Oh, here we go. A Portuguese person has come to our aid here. There you go. I'm going to leave that on at the moment. Segunda-feira, 11 de Janeiro. There you go. And I'll leave that on while I tell you about my epiphany in just a moment. In that case, thanks for being our friend, Jenny. Yeah, if it is, we're either ahead of International Day of Gratitude, or it is today, and that lovely sentiment from Gary there. Thanks for being our friend Jenny. So we're going with Jenny for the time being anyway, and we get official. I think what she said before, which doesn't help, quite frankly, is you can call me anything you like. So I never know if I'm doing the right thing. You tell me what you're most comfortable with, and I second that. Jenny, thank you for being our friend, and thank you for being an asset to this community. So on Saturday, this is like the trials and tribulations, and then the epiphanies and revelations of an expat. I go out on Saturday, and I've had a little bit of a lie-in, I think, if I remember rightly. I often do on a Saturday, because I have to get up at this punishing time of 10 to 9 in order to be on here for 9 o'clock, as you may have noticed. So a little bit of a lie-in, kids willing, on a Saturday morning. And I've got a few things to do. So I've got a package I'm posting to my mother in London. My Wi-Fi is playing up on Mayo. And do you remember how Mayo were the saviour for me after Vodafone started behaving very badly? And they still are, quite frankly, but that's ongoing. But now Mayo seem to have joined in a similar poor, very poor and pants service being offered. My Mayo broadband went off on Friday, I think. And in the chaos of Munson household domesticity, sometimes payments get missed. And what I'm used to is you make the payment and then then the service resumes, right? Excuse me. So I did that, and then I paid it and nothing happened. Then I paid it again, thinking that the first payment hadn't worked, and nothing happened. And then I paid it again. So I paid my Mayo bill 3 times on Friday. And it didn't show up, and it didn't come back on, and it still hasn't come back on. So, the reason I'm mentioning that is I went to the Mayo shop. Lovely man. What I find is the stores, the little franchises and the operations of the stores, the people are lovely, but the corporations are horrible. And isn't that the truth? That's the way of the world at the moment, isn't it? The corporations who are running the world and dominating and dictating to us consumers what we can and can't do with their evil contracts are very draconian and faceless. And then you go and speak to a human being, and you don't want to chew their ear, because they're really nice people. And that's what I found, both with Vodafone and with Mayo. The people on the front line are really nice generally, and they just have apologized for their terrible business practices of the corporation that they work for. And they've got mortgages to pay and rent to pay, and that's why they have to do this. Presumably they wouldn't be there if they didn't have to do that, but that's another story. So I go, first of all, I park up my car at my favorite bakery, because I've got a few little things to do. Need to buy some chicken feed, honey for Mrs. M, the things you get sent out to do on a Saturday morning. And so first stop, let's go to the post office. I'm wearing my new Truja Mosha hoodie. I look like a mixture of a monk and a hoodlum on the street. It's a really nicely cut hoodie top that I bought from Truja Mosha, which I'll tell you about tomorrow, because tomorrow is business, money and finance and all that sort of stuff on Good Morning Portugal show. And I really want to tell you about them. But there I am, walking down the street with my hoodie on, got my package under my arm that I want to send to my mum, and I'm going to go in the Mayo shop, and I'm going to go in the post office. Get to the post office. It's Saturday morning. Oh, the post office is shut. What? On a Saturday morning, the post office is... what's going on there, Portugal? Okay, take it in your stride. Take a chill pill. Take a breath. Walk. Let's go to the Mayo shop now, shall we? And see if the Mayo shop is open to talk about my lack of broadband from you, Mayo. That shop is shut as well on a Saturday morning. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute. People are working all week. They need to go to the post office on Saturday morning, or they need to go to the Mayo shop on Saturday morning. But no, not in Portugal. You do these things during the week. And I do sometimes do them during the week. And I was just working according to old cultural habits from the old place. Go do the chores on the Saturday morning. But no, neither the post office nor the mail shop were open on Saturday morning. And, so now I'm getting used to, being in Portugal. Okay, there's no point getting it. What does Bart Simpson say? There's no point having a cow about it, is there? Get over yourself. And this is what I often tell myself is if you're alone in a room or walking down the street and you're on your own and you're upset, there's only one person there doing it to you, and that's yourself. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to be upset about this. I'm a bit inconvenienced and disappointed. But then I think, of course, I'm going to just go to the bakery and I have a coffee. And I go into my favorite bakery in Anadia, Pau de Dois, God's bread, right? There's this like the quotidien, isn't it? It is the God's bread, which is, bread is God given in Portugal, as far as I'm concerned. It's a divine experience, bread, freshly baked bread in Portugal. And I think the people from the post office and the people from Mayo are in the cafe. Of course, it's Saturday morning in Portugal. People having coffee and cakes with friends and family. I dropped my hoodie top. I stopped being narky and having a cob on, or whatever you call it locally, having my feet out the window, which is what the Portuguese say. And I realize I am in the right place now in Portugal, which is to be in the padaria, in the pastelaria on a Saturday morning. And I realize, yes, these are the values of the Portuguese people: togetherness, cake, coffee. And I heard a lady, I love it how brief exchanges are between Portuguese people. Sometimes they're not, but often they are very brief exchanges. And I see the waitress go over to an older lady sitting down, and she just says, "Café nata," a coffee and a pastel de nata. Café nata. And I heard a song the other day, "Café nata," or something like that. It was really brilliant. I must track it down, because to me it symbolizes so much that is good about Portuguese life in just one phrase. Café nata. And I'm thinking, yes, this is it. This is what it's about. It's about coffee and custard. And then I hear a bottle pop. Like a champagne cork go, and I look over to my left, and there are the men standing at the bar, and an elderly gentleman is drinking a glass of fizzy white at, I think it was 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm thinking, yes, cafe nata, the smell of fresh baked bread, the smell of coffee, the smell of freshly squeezed orange juice, and an old man drinking a bottle, he may well have been drinking it, but drinking a glass. It's topped up from the bottle I heard pop. His espumante, his fizz glass, his champagne flute is being filled, and he's having a cheeky glass of fizz on a Saturday morning. Stood up. And I'm thinking, this is the sort of thing that you millennial, you on Instagram. My idea of people who drink fizz at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning are like 6 millennial women on a hen weekend. Oh, look at us drinking fizz. Insta moment. Old geezer in Portugal is drinking fizz at 11 o'clock. You've got nothing on him, Insta girls. He's been drinking fizz probably since 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. And that, my friends, is the epiphany I had on Saturday. You go to the post office, it's shut. You go to the Mayo shop, it's shut. Take a chill pill. Go to the cafe instead. Cafe nata. And if you're feeling in an especially good mood, a glass of espumante fizz from the Parada region. So there you go. How was your weekend? Let's go back to the comments, shall we? Hiya, Gary from Hank. Hank saying hello to everybody in the community. I love that. Jacqueline, Mary Brown, until you started giving the temperature. That's when she knew it wasn't August. At any given moment, people could be watching any episode of the Good Morning Portugal show dating right back to March. And I watched one last night because I was trying to find some video clips from Web Summit, and I couldn't find them. But I ended up watching what I was saying about coronavirus back in March of 2020. And my goodness, what a year it's been. Wayne Barker, yes, thank you for being here right now, Jacqueline, in the most spiritual of ways. Be here now on Monday, the 11th. Yeah, I normally need to know what day it is, or is that just an age thing or a Portuguese lifestyle thing? I think it's a perfect storm of Portuguese lifestyle, being an expat, and being of a certain age, Wayne. So I think it's a good service for me to go back to telling people what day it is. It's my pleasure. Bon dia, good morning all from Ana Rita Vieira. Good morning to you, Anna. How are you doing this morning? Here you are, Carl. A better public name to know me by, Andy the Doc Thompson. That sounds really cool, doesn't it? Dr. A. Thompson did sound rather formal. And I'm still not sure if you're a medical doctor or a doctor of philosophy or a doctor of seismology, a doctor of epidemiology, which is probably going to keep you in work at the moment, or a doctor of, I don't know, steam trains or whatever. But I don't know if you even want to tell us. But yeah, that does sound a lot cooler, Andy the Doc, because that might be your DJ name, the Doc. And then you can join us on a Friday night in the man cave. Hetal Thakra is here. Good morning to you, Hetal. Great to have you here this morning. Marcus Valbon, bon dia. Carl, eat one pastel de nata or castel de nata. Is that the creamy castle cake that I've not discovered just yet? I have found a wonderful way of speaking to Maya after my internet landline and one mobile phone all went out. And being the humorous digital person I am, I thought I had blown everything up. Go on, tell all. That's just good consumer advice. Jacqueline, tell us how you deal with mayo. And good morning, Hank from Gary. How are things going in the States today? It's not over yet, is it? On it goes. And I heard the other day that soap opera writers are struggling. I mean, soap opera audiences are going down because life has become stranger than fiction, right? When in the old days, you know, when life was fairly stable, we needed soap operas, didn't we, to kind of keep us on our toes. Yeah, these were the modern stories, weren't they, of, you know, what could happen to people, and you know, the febrile use of our imaginations. And scriptwriters has an easy time of it. Now they can't write it because as I say, life is stranger than fiction, and no place or no situation truer than in the United States at the moment, which does seem like a soap opera unfolding daily as we work our way towards the inauguration to see what happens. And of course, Trump being banned from Twitter over the weekend and all that everybody feels about that. I'm looking for I was going to say a fork in the road for polarization, but that would only be more of it. How are you Americans going to deal with your polarization problem, whereby everything is just being split down the middle into, like, you know, us and them, and liking and disliking this, but not that? You know, how are we going to resolve that? You know, methods are available, and Americans have come up with some of the best methods for healing division. And I think they need to be put into practice right now, don't they? It's a learning thing. Knowing the date in Portuguese, it helps. Okay, Owen, it's not because he didn't know what day it was. And point taken. Thank you for that. It's good feedback for how the show should be. All doctors are doc. All men of the cloth are bush. I don't know what that means, and I don't know if I've been entrapped into saying something filthy there or not. as it sometimes happens. Oh, Andy the Doc Thompson is an ex-GP from Birmingham. Wow, be great to talk to you sometimes, but it might be a busman's holiday and you might not want to do that. Oh, it's not a bush, it's a bish. It's a bish bash bush. Thank you, Wayne. If I'm going to be educated, I need to be free of typos. So, oh, I see. It's a military thing. Doctors are doc and men of the cloth are bish. I think that might be a naval thing, actually. The fallout of the coup is ongoing, says Hank from the States. And sadly, people are expecting more violence. Come on, America, get your act together. Stop it. Arrests ongoing, says Hank. It's so sad to see what's happening there. Like an episode of Crossroads. not Bono and Meg and is it Noel Gordon who was? I mean, some of us won't. Some people here won't know what we're talking about. Crossroads was a popular British soap opera back in the 1800s. In case you're interested and want to look it up on Wikipedia, but things have changed a little bit since the wholesome days of Crossroads. But even at the time, I guess it was racy, but nothing like the EastEnders of current vintage. Pastel de nata with espresso coffee to start the day is wonderful. Yeah. And is that right, Marcos? You just go into the cafe and just say cafe nata. You don't even have a fash favor with that, do you? Cafe nata. Would that get you the said treat? Perhaps Covoid, as Jacqueline calls it, has a bright side in that we are having to live life for ourselves and not through soap operas. Yes, indeed. That's a good point. Well made, Jacqueline. Moved from Birmingham to La Area after a stroke. Wow, Andy, your life changed drastically then in so many ways. And I trust you are happy. in Leiria with the move that you've made, and happy to talk on. Look, like a proper telly show, a resident doc in our midst who's happy to come and talk. All right, let's. I don't know how to get in touch with you, Andy, but I'm going to put my email address in the comments, and this is for everybody actually. So carl@expatsportugal.com. If you do me the great honor of dropping me a line, just hi in the subject line, and I'll get back to you. I don't want to give you extra work to do. Sounds like you've retired in Portugal and you don't want to be doing extra work. But I am carl@expatsportugal.com. That's for everybody who's got any fan mail. All complaints should be directed to the man cave on a Friday night. But all compliments and fan mail and good things to carl@expatsportugal.com. Any reviews of pastel de natas from any pastelerias or paderias around the country, send them to me as well. Obviously, you can't email pastel de natas, not yet, but there is a 3D printer shop in my town. I think that's the future, printing our own pastel de natas, maybe. Can you imagine custard coming through your printer? carl@expatsportugal.com, Andy, if you want to come on the show and do a little bit of Doc Talk, that's what the feature will be called. And now, Doc Talk with Andy the Doc Thompson, former GP from Birmingham, who would understand, of course. Did he say Birmingham? Yes, in Birmingham, another Brummie. You see, isn't it funny? When you're on holiday and you are first, in the old days, on a holiday, you would walk into the dining room of a hotel or your bed and breakfast, and you'd be opening up the Tupperware that had the Rice Krispies in or the cornflakes or whatever, and the jug of cold milk and the jug of no plant milks in those days, and the reconstituted orange juice. This is in England, of course, not in Portugal. And you would be wondering, I wonder who all these families and couples are. And it'd be really quiet. People would be, all you'd hear is the occasional uncomfortable cough. And eventually somebody would say, good morning. And wherever you went, probably in the world, there was a Brummie within 10 feet on holiday. Friends for life, new Brummie friends for life. And it's the same here. Look, we've got Gary and we've got Andy the Doc Thompson. They're not more than 10 virtual feet away from us this morning. It's uncanny. What is it with Brummies? all over the world. I'm mixed up in my comments now. Hold on a minute. Where are we? But yeah, I'd love you to be on the show, Andy. That sounds like great fun. Morning. It is a beautiful sunny day here in San Martino. Our new office is now open. Hey, Valerie, you didn't mention that. You've opened an office in San Martino de Porto. Realize we may be closed on Thursday. Yes, we will come to those lockdown restrictions because we need to get our heads together to discover and compare notes on what is going to happen from Thursday. It will be over at some point, and lots of people still asking about property. Yeah, I don't think it. I found out from a video at the weekend. I don't think property prices are going to be impacted, are they? Certainly not for the rich and super rich who will be buying all the properties. And if they're buying the properties, that will keep the prices up. So I think you're going to be fine, Valerie. It's the poor people that we seriously that we need to be concerned about, who are going to suffer worse. They always do, and we need some bright ideas for that. For heaven's sakes, Crossroads, lol. Says Andy. Gary reminding us of Crossroads. Probably the only three of us here who understand and remember Crossroads. Bon dia, says Jane Kashkeda. I flew back to London, Luton last night. Cloudy, wet day in South London. Self-isolating for the next 10 days. Good luck, Jane. Tune in. I was going to say, if you want a point of sanity, don't come here. But if you want a point of community and not sanity, then yes, join us every Monday. Yeah, but every weekday morning from 9 o'clock. Gary Austin, life is good. The sun is shining and I'm still breathing. There he is. Absolutely right. One of the resident elders, practicing gratitude. It's worth doing. R.I.P. Carl's inbox. We'll see, Hank. We'll see. I said all complaints to the man cave. Mancave at expatsportugal.com. Se faz favor is like, please, I won't. I want a pastel de nata. Should we stop talking about it? So, se faz favor, cafinata. Morning, Carl from John Hayfield. Hey, John. I really enjoy your contributions and presence in the expat man cave. What a weird 10 months indeed, says John. We had friends visiting us near Lagos in the first week in March. It was reported on TV something nasty was going on in Wuhan. Yes, back in those Those salad days pre-COVID. 10 days later, we were packing up and driving home in a hurry before borders in Spain and France were to be closed. It has been like something from a film, a fiction. Yeah, you in a sort of slightly oil-smudged, yellowy vest like Bruce Willis, trying to get to the border before it shuts. The world has changed forever, that is for sure. I agree with you, John. We ain't going back to how it was. It's changing, and I think the thing now is to be part of the change, how we want it to be, right? And inform the evolution of this communal experience we're having here called life, because I don't think it's going back to how it was. It's gone on too long now for that to happen, and it's such an impact with this thing. The world has changed forever, that's for sure. Stay safe. We miss not being there for winter. All the best from John, and of course swallows here, people who ordinarily just in Gary's comment, ordinarily the swallows fly to Portugal for warmer weather, the metaphorical swallows, people who prefer to have their winter in Portugal, the Brits, and then go back for the spring and summer in the UK. What a lovely arrangement. But sadly, that has changed as well. We're like dog poo. People having breakfast, Gary, you find us all over the place. I would never have put it like that. And that's because Birmingham is so cold, says Peter Bleach. Never been so cold in our lives than when eating chips fried in dripping in the Black Country Museum. Now, there is a cultural high point. Chips fried, no doubt in lard, or even engine grease from the Leyland factory in the Black Country Museum. You think Portugal's cold, go to the Black Country Museum and eat chips there. Yes, indeed, Gary. It is good to be alive. Yay! To the elders among us, reminding us of these things. Someone else here who remembers Crossroads, Benny and Miss Diane, my favourites. All right, Miss Diane. Peggy Littrell, Prosecco Peggy in the house. Bon dia from a Prosecco Peggy. How are you, Peggy? Lovely to hear from you. Life is good. I'm not in the USA, says Peggy. They have gone to hell in a handbasket, says Peggy. Sorry, that was a terrible impersonation, Peggy. Forgive me. Joel is here. And I was recommending Joel to somebody as the man from Porto, which could be his Instagram handle at man from Porto. But forgive me, on the webinar last Thursday, we had a great time in the Ask Our Expats session. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to ask Joel if he's happy to answer questions, if I can give his email address out. But Joel, I want you to become one of our Ask Our Expats team. You need to email me, mate. We need to get in, because all you people on YouTube, it's hard to get in touch with you, I think. So please, Joel, can we get in email contact? Because there are people who want to speak to you, and I think they should pay you for your consultations if it becomes serious, if it escalates to some serious intel and info this side of the water. So email me, mate. Let's get in proper contact. It's crazy in America, says Hank. Half of us still think COVID isn't happening. If it were a zombie movie, they'd all be hanging out in the graveyards and heading to the zombie mobs. Peggy has that right, says Hank as well. It's such a shame. Come on, we can do this, folks. We got this. We got it. In the worst of times, the best comes out of people. But maybe, we haven't, why does it take that? Is that what's going to happen in America? It's just got to get really bad before it gets better. I hope not. We're smarter than that, aren't we? This kind of weather is not normal, says Marcus Valbon. Where are you, Marcus? It's not normal. The average is 10 degrees. In winter times, 10 to 16 degrees. That's right. I'm not used to it being this cold. This is unseasonably cold here in Portugal. If you're planning to come here, do not think that this is representative. I need to just have a sip of water. Shelley's here, everybody. Come to your comment in just a moment. Oh, okay. 1:45, and we haven't done the lockdown stuff. We should do that, actually. But a couple more comments. Thank you, Marcos, for that. Where are you? You're up north, aren't you, in Portugal? Great to hear from the Federal Republic of the Black Country. Hold on a minute. Excuse me. So Shelley's here with a fabulous contribution. Palavra do dia. They're coming from the community, which is great from my point of view. Gratidão. Gratidão, gratitude. So this is good, isn't it? I mean, and I think it's good to have a really good balance here. In fact, I think the way the human mind works is that you have to do sort of 10 times more positive stuff than you do negative, if I remember rightly. Shelley would know about this sort of thing, as I'm sure Gary or Garvo would as well, is that we need to focus on the positive, because it's a bit like restaurant reviews. For every 10 good ones, one bad one can take you down to Chinatown. as it were, because the human mind focuses on negativity out of its need to protect. So we have to do more work in the gratitude department. So, folks, get your gratitude diaries ready, because that's what we're going to be talking about with Jenny on Friday. We need to be concentrating on stamping out COVID, and we have our government cowering in the basement of the Capitol. That's Joe Biden that cowers in the basement, doesn't he? But it just seems that all politicians are cowering in basements the world over. Coming out with policy and stuff, but we haven't had a real hero, have we? I guess is it Jacinda Ardern would be one, but where are the real heroes of this piece? Or do they only get reported in retrospect? Is it sort of Winston Churchill kind of territory? I mean, it's hard to know how much he truly was loved in the wartime. He was hated, wasn't he, after the war? But then, decades later, held up as a great hero and a very controversial past and much controversy. But who are the heroes of the COVID time in terms of public office? Let me know. Yes, in the north, says Marcus Valbon. I keep saying you're in Brazil, don't I? I'm in the north of Portugal, right? Peggy Littrell, it might be cool in the Algarve, but we still have sunshine. How wonderful that you've got the sunshine down there. Yeah, some great weather. Louise, yes, lockdown stuff, please. Just finished my 10 days in isolation in the UK. Now have to get back to Portugal. Life long lockdown for you at the moment. Craig Brown, we're awaiting residency in Spain. My question is, which way is it better to come and live in Portugal? As a third country national or with Spanish residency? Thanks in advance. Bring that to a webinar, Craig, or Wednesday morning. Ask anything about Portugal, because I actually don't know the answer to that. I haven't got a personal experience on that. Others might, though, to be fair. In America, it's Dr. Fauci. He's the hero, is he? I've heard mixed reports about, but Dr. Fauci's the hero, though, right? According to Hank. Or is he the one cowering in the basement? I was just thinking I could do a tasty faggot. But I realize that means something very different in America. It does. Gary, when he says I could do a tasty faggot, if I could, just for the sake of diplomatic relationships between Birmingham and America, tell you that the faggot in Birmingham is, tasty and faggot. So that's a controversial statement. Faggot is made, I think, of meaty offcuts. Is that the right way of putting it? It's like a round sausage ball, the Birmingham haggis, possibly, with a lot of gravy. I was going to call it peasant food, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Is there any other way of meaning that? Okay, I'll move on. Gary, tell everybody what a faggot is in Birmingham. And be sensible. Taiwan, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. There are plenty in the East who take things seriously. Pete Bleach is saying these are the heroes. And I suppose, yeah, Jacinda Ardern I've mentioned there. I don't know who the leaders of Taiwan, Singapore. Don't know who the leader of Singapore is since Lee Kuan Yew. Yeah, okay. Does Hank Staliker have a YouTube channel? Yes, he does. Hank Staliker should have his own show and merchandise, don't you think? I'd wear a Hank Staliker t-shirt. Jimmy White is here. The negative can be like Velcro, while the positive can be like Teflon. Responding to my comments. Thank you, Jimmy. That's a really good way of putting it. So we do have to emphasize the positive and overdo it, if you like. A heavy emphasis on the positive, folks, at these times. Hi, Gary means something very fabulous in America. Peggy Littrell, stop listening to Trump. All right. So you can't listen to him anyway. Lol, says Joe, and my grandmother is from Uvatuba, Sao Paulo state of Brazil, says Marcos, and Jacqueline Mary Brown. Yep, get back here, Louise. You're sorely missed as an asset to all of us. Okay, so let's conclude with thank you, everybody, for your comments. You are the most delightful distraction ever, but we've got some serious business to look at now. And we are looking at the headline in the Portugal Resident that tells us that the pandemic numbers continue to spiral in Portugal, but lockdown is likely to last, or unlikely to last, only 2 weeks. So it's likely to last longer. This is the best distillation I could find, as ever, from Natasha Don in the PortugalResident.com. Thank you for your tireless work, Natasha Don, reported yesterday in the Portugal Resident. So let's focus for a moment, shall we, on this? And I'll just have a sip of water before I begin this epic read and us trying to make sense of this. Oh, I nearly did it without unmuting myself there. With today's numbers, yeah, we're okay. With today's numbers highlighting the increasing pressure on the Portuguese health service, Publico, this was yesterday, has revealed that the national lockdown due to come into force next week, and that'll be this week, is expected to start at midnight on Wednesday. So it actually starts on Thursday, okay? It starts at midnight, 1 minute after midnight on Thursday. So lockdown in Portugal, from what we can tell, begins again on Thursday. At the stroke of midnight, and will almost certainly be in place for more than 2 weeks. Yesterday, so this is speculation because it hasn't been properly decided. We are still in a state of emergency, and lockdown, of course, is one of the tools of the state of emergency. Yesterday, reports were stressing how all politicians wanted the lockdown to be as short as possible. They would say that, wouldn't they? The period of 2 weeks was floated as fitting with this narrative. I think Natasha is saying about the politicians there, but Publico's sources, and indeed those advising other newspapers, suggest the situation requires a longer period, a month at least, ensuring that Carnival on February the 16th passes without any commemorations. So this is what the politicians have to have their eye on, right? It's public events that would cause people to gather in great numbers and then cause more cases. Carnival being one of them on February the 16th. So that would mean, my goodness, a month of lockdown, right? Correio de Manhã believes the first 2 weeks of the lockdown will be the most stringent, with the government slowly releasing pressure over the following 2 weeks. The situation today is that all this information is being drip-fed to the press to prepare the nation for what is to come. Drip feeding, I think, is inappropriate at this stage. Forgive me for having an opinion on this, but if somebody wants to be a strong leader and be seen to be a strong leader, drip feeding, I don't think is the way. Strong, clear statements and having the guts to do it is the way forward. And being seen as somebody who can be trusted to sort of not, hedge their bets, see what's going on, see what the people think. Oh, we'll change this, we'll change that. Enough of the drip feeding. Just make it clear and plain and allow some public discourse as well. Today's numbers at a high level. Today's numbers show that another 215 people entered hospitals in the most recent 24-hour period under analysis, while another 18 critical care patients were admitted into ICUs. The number of active cases in Portugal has increased yet again, is now over 100,000, 106,778. Hospitals in the worst hit areas of Lisbon and the north are transferring patients in order to cope. Staff are described as beyond exhausted. God bless them. The number of cases, plus 7,500, is down from the 10,000s of the last few days, but this is the weekend and testing facilities are not working at their usual pace. There are some strange anomalies, aren't they? We're in a state of emergency and testing facilities slow down. I mean, of all the times you would need accurate figures, why on earth are testing facilities not resourced appropriately to test people at a constant pace? That's ridiculous. Excuse me. What is clear is that deaths continue to be very high. Another 102 deaths have been attributed to the virus in this latest bulletin, 39 in the Lisbon Valdetejo area, slightly less in the north and centre, 27 and 25 respectively, 7 in the Alentejo and 4 in the Algarve. And the full picture, there's a link to it to see the full picture. But back to the speculation around the lockdown, because that's all we've got right now. As to the looming lockdown, we know it will start, on midnight on Thursday. It will call a halt. That's a minute after midnight going into Thursday. It will call a halt on restaurants running anything but takeaway and home deliveries, and non-food related commerce, including cafes. Again, these will be able to run a takeaway service. Shops, shopping centres, gyms, etc. Oh, my goodness. Okay, hold on a minute. Shops. Hairdressers, however, are expected to be allowed to stay open this time. So you can get your locks done in the lockdown. The absolute terms will become clear after the government meets with health experts tomorrow. So we will have a clearer picture tomorrow. That is a little bit, that's a worrying grey area. I'm going to assume, that the shops, as in terms of the supermarkets, will be open, and one person per household will be going out to do the shopping, etc. On a need to shop basis, essentials. There will then be a vote in Parliament on Wednesday to approve the latest renewal of the country's state of emergency, after which the Council of Ministers will convene to decide new measures to come into place, i.e. the return to a period of confinement. So Tuesday and Wednesday are crucial. although a lockdown is likely to start or is going to start from the early hours of Thursday morning. Council's decision will be announced within hours of the lockdown scheduled for midnight, as I say there, from early hours of Thursday. The big question is how to run this latest lockdown with schools remaining open, which is what the government up till now has been saying it wants to ensure. Right now, there appear to be 65 active outbreaks in schools around the country involving over 400 cases. Some really startling inconsistencies, it seems to me. President Marcelo said on television last night that the decision on schools has still to be confirmed. Further details of all the logistics will become clearer between now and Tuesday. I would add Wednesday to that. Adding even more pressure to decision making is the fact that the country goes to the polls to elect its new president on January the 24th. In other words, voting will take place during the confinement and be postal. The government has already said that votes will be collected from people in isolation, though municipal authorities have admitted they have no idea how this will actually work. Can you imagine? Central government, yeah, we'll collect votes from people. Local government, what? How are they going to do that? Don't know, just do it. President Marcelo has insisted that there is no way that the elections can be postponed, so it's looking like the government will allow people to leave their homes. Okay, so you can go voting on Sunday, January 24th, in order to vote, as long as they return home immediately afterwards. I'm sorry. But okay, I will bite my tongue. Okay, let's go back to your comments. Anything coming up? Anything arising from that? Opening schools is incredibly stupid. I would agree with you, Hank. Ingeborg, Lise Marie, Surya Kaelsh. What a lovely name. Hi, Sharon. Nice to meet you. Same here, living the most of the time. I don't know if this is meant for me, so I won't read it out. I think it's a message to Sharon, but it isn't in the public domain there, Ingeborg. You should know. Let's scroll back because I'm reading these backwards. And oh yeah, good, we've got a faggot recipe. Stop listening to Trump. We did that, didn't we? Okay, made in the Black Country, not Birmingham. It is a sort of spicy meatball in a delicious gravy. So there you go. That is a faggot in that part of England. I do have a channel. It's mostly for helping people learn to program. Hank, we got to talk. Do you teach kids programming? My son, my 9-year-old son, a Minecraft fan. Yes, marvelous. We must check out your channel. We had 2 million new COVID cases so far in 2021 in the US. It's out of control. Hospitals are on the verge of collapse in California. 0% ICU capacity currently, and 30,000 dead in California so far, says Hank. New COVID wave again, and the next possible lockdown is going to come very soon. There we had it. Marcos is going to come in from the early hours of Thursday. How's the vaccine distribution situation in Portugal? So far, so good. But I think typically what we're seeing is the hope and hype of government, trying to keep the spirits of the people up with, something to look forward to. If indeed, there are people looking forward to the vaccine. Some are, some aren't. But that is the method, isn't it, of currently it's most countries seem to be promoting the vaccine as the way out, as well as further lockdown restrictions. And in Portugal it's the same. The vaccine distribution seems to be fairly effective, but then again it depends who you talk to, as with all of these things. So the top level thing is, yes, let's get this out there, there's plenty of it. Let's get it to the most important people. How that's happening on the ground, you hear different stories, and that's the same the world over. I think I agree. Clear statements of what will be happening. We do not need to tiptoe through the tulips anymore. And why are we not all getting our vaccine, Jeff? So there you go, Peggy, responding to your comment there, Hank. I think it's going to the prioritized people, which is a way of, I suppose, hiding inefficiency as well, is it not? If the hospital services are getting overrun, then it seems likely the testing service is likewise. But Gary, testing can't be as difficult as running an ICU, right? There are people who could be trained to do that. I don't think it's the same. This has been my concern all along, is that why didn't we increase ICO and train people? And I understand people's response to that. It's because it's a very difficult training that people can't be found. But other things can be found. And I don't think the testing service, I hear it's massively inaccurate. I don't think it's that difficult. It's not rocket science. It would appear, and we might get a lot of new phrases out of the pandemic, mightn't we? Like it's not COVID science, meaning something. But I would have thought it wouldn't be that difficult. I mean, we're seeing military personnel testing people. Surely they could. The testing doesn't need to stop at the weekends. I think that's ridiculous. Thanks, Hank. From Owen, where are we now? That message from Ingeborg. And yes, school's opening. That is crazy, isn't it? The Portuguese government is so funky. That's one way of looking at it. Marcus Valbon. Diogo's here. Good morning to all. Same here in England. Just one new day. It's life. Just enjoy the day. 4 days off for me. So staying home. Another positive counting of blessings there from Diogo. Thanks, Diogo. Great to hear from you. At least you didn't just have a coup, though, so that's good. Yeah, looking on the bright side. Thanks, Hank. Portuguese government is kind of confusing, though. I've been reading on it. We did do an introduction with Joel. He's the man to talk to, Hank, about that. Very interesting and different. Yeah, and there are communists here, Hank, which strikes terror into the ears and minds of American people after years of struggling with the word. Propaganda from the Cold War. It's very European communism, very different. And yes, there are communists in the government here. According to some tests, only an elder, the grandmother of this community, is allowed to say that. According to some tests, I am dead, says Jacqueline. I am retired ICU nurse with 33 6. I didn't know that, Peggy. And I volunteered to help with jabs and got no answer to 2 emails. Yeah, yeah. True, says Hank. Jacqueline, I am sure there could be a self-test. I think there are self-tests, but it's the system that seems to be breaking down. Or anyway, I'm not going to bang on. I'm endeavouring to be positive. That is the balance we're hoping to have and bring, isn't it? Good morning, Portugal. And it's difficult because we want to be informed. And we want to stay positive, and it's a difficult balancing act, literally. How many people would volunteer to be a testing operative? Well, if it's military, they don't get a say in that, do they? And I think there you go. We've had one volunteer in Peggy to do testing. Is it testing or vaccinations? Probably both from Peggy. So I think. Oh, are you suggesting, Gary, that people would not volunteer because they're worried about putting themselves on the front line and therefore getting infected? Yeah, tricky one. I get you if that's what you mean. Okay, folks, we have done an hour this morning. This is an unprecedented length for this show, and still amazing to see so many of you here trying to make sense of things, gladly chucking in the occasional bit of gratitude and balance and humor. A beautiful balance, as I've come to expect from, and will continue to expect from the Good Morning Portugal community. And your feedback always welcome, because above all, I want this to be a useful, friendly, fun service to people in these bonkers times. That's the overriding thing, to be a useful service to people, especially if we are going to be going into further isolation. I can't claim that it's a point of sanity. I wouldn't dare do that, and people would laugh anyway if I did. But it is a place where we can check in, have a virtual hug, be together as best as we possibly can. There are Brummies here. What more could you want? And a great show, Carl. Thanks for my fix, says Hank. It's a pleasure, Hank. See you tomorrow morning. Oh, the other thing I meant to tell you actually is yes, on because Monday's supposed to be about what's on for the rest of the week. Something I need to tell you about before I go is the events calendar. Going to that on expatsportugal.com. Do go there, and you will see that on Thursday, our webinar on Thursday is the special with Daniel Reis of Reis Pelicano, Portuguese citizenship, who, when, and how to apply in 2021. And are you considering taking the next step and applying for Portuguese citizenship? What does this mean for you? Where do you start? Who is eligible? You have to go through your residencia first, of course, but after that, we'll find out from Daniel Reis from Reis and Pelicano how to do that once you get to that 5-year threshold, which is what's required. Cost of living coming up the week after. Home utilities, gas, water, electricity, internet, phone. That should be an interesting one. I'll still be moaning about Vodafone, Mondafone, and Mayo, or Monio, as I will now be calling them, until they fix my broadband. And then on the 28th, ask anything about renting or buying a property in Portugal. Lots of great webinars to come up. You get VIP treatment if you are a premium member of expatsportugal.com for those. Are they still on? Oh, sorry, that didn't share, but go to expatsportugal.com. Actually, I'll put a link to that. Sorry, I thought I was sharing that, and it didn't make it. But I will put the link to expatsportugal.com and our calendar in the comments right now as we put in your as we read your last comments. At least 6 years, says Umberto Ferreira. Good morning, Umberto. I guess you apply in your 6th year. I think, yeah, you have residency for 5 years, which you can extend. But if you want to become a citizen, well, we'll find out on Thursday, won't we? Thanks, Carl, says Peggy. Viva the insane, says Jacqueline Mary Brown. More of that on Friday nights from 8. Great start to a Monday morning, Carl. Thank you in capital letters. Muito obrigado. Igualmente to you. Thank you. Likewise, right back at you, Louise, for showing up and being here, a vital part of our community here, as you all are. Expatsportugal.com, calendar-what's-on to find out what's coming up in the webinars with the experts. I'm a mere pundit. Join us with the experts on Thursdays. I'm choosing the wine this week on the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club on Thursday. I haven't selected that one yet, but join the group if you want to taste Portuguese wine. Really good way of literally connecting with Portugal, tasting the wine of Portugal. Portuguese wine is available in America and all over the world, and increasingly so. Man Cave on Friday. I think we're going to have another disco. I think we're going to have another Man Cave disco on Friday. And, of course, Jenny on Friday with the Feel Good Friday special. We'll be talking about gratitude. That's all I've got for you right now. And I better go and have a cup of coffee. Cafe nata would be nice, wouldn't it? Take care. Bye for now. Beijinhos. Abraços. Hasta logo. Ciao, ciao. Te já.